All right, so now let's look at a few more examples on this topic. Simple exponential equations. Let me just use this as corrections for you for the last exercise. The first question says you should solve 2 raised to power x is equal to 8. Here, you are not to divide both sides by 2. No. You are not to divide both sides by 2. There's no common factor 2 on both sides. What you have on both sides is a common base. Now, this is 2 raised to power x on the left. You can write 8 too as a number in base 2. How do you write 8 in base 2? Very simple. I can, do this. 2 in 8, 4. 2 in 4, 2. 2 in 2, 1. So 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. And that's what 2 raised to power 3. That's all that you can do. So on the right hand side too, you write that 8 is 2 raised to power 3. So after doing that, you can now equate powers. Now the base here is 2, the base here is also 2. So you can equate their powers and say, therefore, x is equal to what? 3. Exactly. You are not to divide both sides by 2. If you divide 2 raised to power x by 2, you are not going to get x. You understand? It's not like normal. This is not an expression that can be divided by 2. So just write both sides in the same base. So let's continue. Now, question 2 says 8 raised to power 4x is equal to 16. Question 2, 8 raised to power 4x is equal to 16. Now, 8 raised to power 4x. Here too, you cannot divide both sides by 8. It's not done that way. Because there's no common factor 8. You understand? If it was 8 times 8 raised to power 4x now is 16. Here, you can divide both sides by 8. 8 will cut 8. 16, 8 will cut 16 too. But the question is not like that. The question is simply 8 raised to power 4x. So what you look to do is to write both sides in the same base. Now, you cannot write 16 as 8 raised to power 2. It's not correct. 16 is not 8 raised to power 2. So, but you can write both in base 2. You can write this 16 in base 2, and you can write this 8 also in base 2. How do we do that? 8 is 2 raised to power 3. I just showed you. So you multiply that 3 by the 4x that was already on the numerator side before, on the power side before. Then you write 16 as 2 raised to power 4. I hope you know I got that. 16 is 2 raised to power 4. Let's do that together. 2 in 16, 8. 2 in 8, 4. 2 in 4, 2. 2 in 2, 1. So 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 raised to power 4. So 16 is 2 raised to power 4. You take note. You take note. So what does that give you? That will give you 2 raised to power 12x is 2 raised to power 4. Do you understand now? Now the bases are the same, 2, 2. I can equate my powers. If this is equal to this, that means these powers are equal. So let's equate our powers. Therefore, 12x is equal to 4. And what? 12x is equal to 4. And x is equal to what? 4 over 12. I'll divide both sides by 12. 4 here 1, 4 here 3. X is equal to 1 over 3. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for these first two questions I've given you now, let me quickly give you a short exercise that you can do by yourself so that you can use it to practice what I just explained. 2 raised to power x is equal to 4. B, 8 raised to power 3x is equal to, let's say, 8 raised to power 3x is equal to, let's use 16 still. So do that yourself just to practice. Let's continue with number 3. Question 3 in your classwork says 3c squared is equal to 18. 3c squared is 18. Here now, there's a common factor here. 18 is 3 times 6. So you can divide both sides by 3. You can divide both sides by 3. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 1. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 6. So what does that give you? That gives you, you'll be left with c squared is equal to 6. So c will be square root of 6. If c squared is 6, c will be square root of 6. Let me give you a question to answer for that one too. Let's say 4m squared is equal to 24. Let's say 4m squared is equal to, or let's say 4m squared is equal to 40. Okay, I think that's better. So do that yourself. Let's continue with our corrections. Number 4. Number 4. It says x raised to power 1 over 4 is equal to 5. X raised to power 1 over 4 is equal to what? 5. Now, if x raised to power 1 over 4 is equal to 5, here we need to use reciprocals. What is the reciprocal of 1 over 4? It's 4 over 1. So you multiply this side too by 4 over 1, which is the same thing as 4. You know, 5 is the same thing as 5 raised to power 1. If you multiply 1 by 4 over 1, you will get x raised to power 1 on the left here, and you get 5 raised to power 4 on the right. So this gives you what? X is equal to 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And that gives you x is 625. So that's that. Number 5. Number 5. Okay, I think I should be giving you questions to answer that are similar. Let me give you this one. X raised to power 1 over 3 is equal to 8. Find x. So you do it exactly the way I did number 4 here. Just multiply this one by 3 over 1 and this one by 3 over 1 also. So your answer will be x is equal to 8 raised to power 3. X raised to power 1 over 3 is 8. So let's continue with our corrections. Number 5. What's in question 5? What's in question 5? Question 5 is x raised to power 3 over 2 is equal to 8. X raised to power 3 over 2 is equal to 8. We are going to call on our reciprocals here. What's the reciprocal of 3 over 2? That's 2 over 3. Reciprocal is a number that multiplies another number to give 1. So this one too, I'll raise it to power 2 over 3. Because initially 8 is the same thing as 8 raised to power 1. So if you multiply 1 by 2 over 3, you get 8 raised to power 2 over 3. Exactly. So this gives you what? X raised to power 1, 2 here 1, 2 here 1, 3 here 1, 3 here 1. 1 times 1 over 1 times 1 will give you 1. So that gives you x raised to power 1 is equal to 8 raised to power 2 over 3. And that gives x is equal to 8 raised to power 2 over 3. Now with 8 raised to power 2 over 3, what's your x? X is cube root of 8 or squared. Can you see that? The denominator becomes the root, and what? The numerator becomes the power. So that's how we do fractional indices. The denominator becomes, this denominator 3 becomes the root, and this numerator 2 becomes the what? Power. So take note of that. So my x is cube root of 8 raised to power 2. What's the cube root of 8? 2. 2 raised to power 2 will give 2 times 2, which is what? 4. So that means my x is what? 4. So that's that about that. Okay, I'll give you one question to solve like that too. X raised to power, let's say 2 over 5. X raised to power 5 over 2. Let me give you x raised to power 5 over 2 is equal to 32. x raised to power 5 over 2 is equal to 32. So do that yourself. Now question 6 in our correction. This is not scrolling. Let me get to the next one. 4 raised to power x plus 1 is equal to 8. Question 6 says 4 raised to power x plus 1 is 8. Now here, I need to write both sides in the same base. But I cannot write 4. I cannot write 8 as 4 raised to power 2. You'll be tempted to do that. You'll be tempted to write 8 as 4 raised to power 2. No, 8 is not 4 raised to power 2. And this is 4. So the only base in which I can write both left and right is in base 2. Because I can write 4. I can write 4 as 2 squared and multiply the 2 by x plus 1. I can also write 8 as 2 cubed. So that, takes care of that. So after doing this now, both sides are in the same base. 2x plus 2 is 2 raised to power 3. Do you understand? So 2 raised to power 2x plus 2 is 3. I've expanded this bracket. 2 times x, 2x, and 2 times 1, 2. So that gives me 2 raised to power 2x plus 2 is equal to 2 raised to power 3. Now the bases are the same. I can equate powers. That will give me 2x plus 2 is equal to 3. 2x plus 2 is equal to 3. That's 2x is 3 minus 2. 2x is 3 minus 2. 2x is 1. X is 1 over 2. So that's that about that. So that's the answer to that. I'll give you another question to do by yourself. 4 raised to power 3x minus 1 is equal to, let's say, okay, let's use 8 also, so that it can be easy to connect. Number 7 now, in our corrections. Number 7 says 9 raised to power 2x plus 3 is 27. 9 raised to power 2x plus 3 is 27. You cannot write 9 and 27 in base 9, because you can't write 27 as 9 raised to power 3. No, 9 raised to power 3 is 729. But you can write both sides in base 3. So change 9 to 3 squared and put the 2x plus 3 in bracket. Then change 27 to 3 cubed. I hope you understand how I changed 27 to 3 raised to power 3. 27 is 3 times 3, 9. 9 times 3, 27. So 27 is 3 raised to power 3. You can break it down yourself. So you see 27, 3 and 27, 9. 3 and 9, 3. 3 and 3, 1. So 27 is what? 3 raised to power 3. Exactly. So here, it will give you 3 raised to power 4x plus 6 is equal to 3 raised to power 3. Just expand the bracket here. 2 times 2x, 4x. Then 2 times 3, 6. So here I can now equate my powers. Since my bases are the same, 3, 3, I can now equate my what? Powers. 4x plus 6 is equal to 3. So 4x is 3 minus 6. 4x is what? Minus 3. X is minus 3 over 4. That's the answer to that. I'll give you a similar question to answer. Do this yourself. 9 raised to power x minus 2 is 27. Get the value of x. Just for you to practice, please, and know this well. So that if you know these simple exponential equations well, when we get to, what's it called, higher ones, it will not be hard. 2x is equal to 8x raised to power half. 2x is equal to 8x raised to power half. This is simple. There's 2 on both sides, so I can divide both sides by 2. This is 2 times x, And this is what? 8 times x raised to the power half. This is 8 times x raised to the power half. I can divide both sides by 2. If I divide both sides by 2, 2 will cut 2 here, 2 will cut 8. What will I get? I will get x only left on this side. 2 in 8 is 4. I will get 4x raised to the power half left on this side. So this is easy. I can divide both sides by x raised to the power half is equal to 4x raised to the power half over x raised to the power half. So that at the end of the day, this cuts this out. So I have just 4 left on the left. Can you see that? I'll get x divided by x raised to the power half is equal to 4. X divided by x raised to the power half is equal to 4. So that gives me what? X divided by x raised to the power half is equal to 4. Now, x is the same thing as x raised to the power 1. So x raised to the power 1 divided by x raised to the power half is equal to 4. That's what? X raised to the power 1 minus half is equal to what? 4. 1 minus half is what? Half. So 1 minus half is half. So x raised to the power half is equal to 4. I will now use or call on my reciprocals. X raised to the power half multiplied by 2 over 1. 4 also is raised to the power 1 multiplied by 2 over 1. That gives me x raised to the power 1 is 4 raised to the power 2. And that's what? X is equal to 16. 4 raised to the power 2 is 4 times 4, which is equal to what? 16. Let's go to number 9. Let's go to question 9 straight. Okay, I actually did 8 for 9. The last question I answered was actually number 9. So I'm just going to do number 8 now. 3 raised by x plus 1 is equal to 9. Okay, this is number 8. Let me change this to number 9. Alright, let's continue. That's not a problem. 3 raised to the power x plus 1 is equal to 9. This is pretty easy. Just write 9 in base 3 as 3 squared. You understand? You now equate powers. Here, you have seen that the bases are the same, 3, 3. So you can equate the powers now. If you equate the powers, x plus 1 on the left will be equal to 2. So x will be 2 minus 1. X is equal to 2 minus 1. And that gives what? X is equal to 1. So I'll give a question like that for you to practice. I don't know whether it should be H or I. F, G, H. Okay, let me check what was the last letter I gave you. F. Okay, G. So I'm to give you H now. Practice question. H. Let's make it 3 raised to the power 2x plus 1. 3 raised to the power 2x plus 1 is equal to 81. This is simple. Just write 81 as 3 raised to the power 4 and equate 2x plus 1 to the 4 you get. That's all. Write 81 as 3 raised to the power 4 and equate 2x plus 1 to the 4. That's all. When you equate bases. If you don't get any one of it, please drop a question. Drop a message so I can tell you what to do. Don't just struggle with it. 4 raised to the power minus 3 is equal to 4. Number 10 now. Number 10. 4 raised to the power minus 3. Oh, v raised to the power minus 3, I mean. V, it is v, not 4. V raised to the power minus 3 is equal to 4. What does that give you? We will use our reciprocals. Now, v raised to the power minus 3, the reciprocal of minus 3 is minus 1 over 3. So we do the same thing to this one too. Raised to the power minus 1 over 3. There's 1 there before. If multiply 1 by minus 1 over 3, you still get minus 1 over 3. So this will give us v. You understand? Minus 3. 3 you cancel 3. Minus times minus plus. So this gives us v is equal v raised by 1 is 4 raised by minus 1 over 3. So that gives us v is equal to 1 over 4 raised by 1 over 3. That gives us what? V is equal to 1 over 4 raised by 3. 1 over 3. So my v is 1 over cube root of 4 raised by 1. 4 raised by 1 is 4. So you just leave your answer like that. You understand? Number. Okay, let me give an answer like that. A question like that. U raised to power minus 2. U raised to power minus 2 is equal to 4. U raised to power minus 2 is equal to 4. So do that yourself. Number 11 now. Question 11 now. Question 11. U raised to power minus 3 over 2 is equal to 8. U raised to power minus 3 over 2 is equal to 8. That's a simple question. Let's do it together. Okay, in order not to get you confused, let me change this to x. Question 11. U raised to power minus 3 over 2 is equal to 8. So this is simple. We call on our reciprocals. The reciprocal of minus 3 over 2 is minus 2 over 3. So if you raise whatever you do to the left hand side, multiplication by minus 2 over 3, you do it to the right hand side too. So you raise this to minus 2 over 3. This gives us u raised to power 1, 3 and 3, 1, 2 into 1, minus times minus plus. So u raised to power minus 2 over, u raised to power 1, u raised to power 1 is equal to 8 raised to power minus 2 over 3. That tells us what? U is equal to 1 over 8 raised to power 2 over 3. The minus just means the inverse of the power. The minus means the inverse of the power. So, moving on. U is what? 1 over. The 3 is cube root. Then the 2 means power. The denominator is the root. The numerator is the power. So u raised to power 1 over. The cube root of 8 is 2. So that's 1 over 2 raised to power 2. That gives you what? U is equal to 1 over 4. That gives you u is equal to 1 over 4. So that's number 11. That's number 11. Let's do number 12 together. Number 12 together. Okay? 40 raised to power minus 3. Number 12. 40 raised to power minus 3 is equal to what? Minus 500. 40 raised to power minus 3 is minus 500. This one has common factors on left and right. So 40 raised to power minus 3 is minus 500 over 4. We divide both sides by 4. 4 will take out 4 here. 4 will take out 125 there. That gives us what? T raised to power minus 3. Okay, let me clean that division. So that gives us, it's a good habit not to show that you cancelled what you wrote. Just divide in your mind and just go on with the answer on the next step. Don't cancel. You understand? It's not a good habit. So t raised to power minus 3 will be minus 125. If you get t raised to power minus 3 as minus 125, what does that give you? That's okay, let's call on our reciprocals. minus 3, the reciprocal of minus 3 is minus 1 over 3. Minus 125, the reciprocal is also, sorry, minus 125 too will be multiplied by the same minus 1 over 3. Assume that there was 1 here before. 1 times minus 1 over 3 will give you minus 1 over 3. Exactly. So this will give you t. We've done that several times. Is minus 125. T is minus 125 raised to power minus 1 over 3. So what does that give us? That will now be equal to t is equal to, that will now give t is equal to minus 125, 1 over minus 125 raised to power 1 over 3. You know what reciprocal means. So at the end of the day, we get t is equal to 1 over, the 3 here becomes the root. So that gives cube root of minus 125 raised to power what? 1. So what's the cube root of minus 125? That's minus 5. Minus 5 raised to power 1 will give minus 5. That's 1 over minus 5. And t will be equal to what? Minus 1 over 5. So that's the correction to the exercise I gave you. It was a very simple exercise, but it can take time to master. No problem at all.